Today we're going on a journey that takes us back to historic glamour. A glamour lost in the middle of the 20th century. A glamour that today is making a comeback in a very big way. No, we're not in the middle of 18th century Europe, nor are we at the Crazy Horse or Moulin Rouge in Paris. We're right here in Sydney, where the art of burlesque is back and here to stay. Burlesque emerged into society in the late 18th century, during a time of social divide amongst the upper and lower classes. Burlesque theatre aimed to mock established entertainment such as opera, Shakespeare, musicals and ballet. These performances, usually conducted by women, included novelty acts such as fire-eating, gymnastics, contortionists and comedy. Amongst the theme were elaborate costumes and sets considered inappropriate for polite society. By the mid-1900s, the art of burlesque would evolve and be dominated by striptease, which eventually led to its downfall and disappearance. In more recent times, we see the emergence of neo-burlesque, which attempts to redefine burlesque, focusing more on the tease than in the strip. Burlesque is growing in popularity more and more every day, and at the forefront of this revival are the team from Sugar Time. Sugar Time has reached Sydney, originating from the Whoopee Club in London. They have come to bring burlesque entertainment to a wider audience. They currently throw spectacular sell-out shows at the Oxford Art Factory every month. Hi, today we have Caspia Violetta, Director of Sugar Time Burlesque. She's here today to talk about the rise of burlesque in Sydney. Hi Caspia, how are you doing today?
Good, Sammy, how are you?
I'm great. So tell me, for those who don't know what burlesque is, can you kind of define it a little bit for us?
I can try. Burlesque probably has a different meaning for everyone. I don't think you could define exactly what it is, and I think that's the beauty of what burlesque is. I don't really think it's all about the striptease, although that is a major element of it, which would probably define burlesque from a theatre show to changing it from like being in the stripping ground to dance. So it encompasses a lot of different things. Theatre, burlesque, which I would say is more using sexuality as an expression in a dance performance medium on stage in front of a live audience.
Do you think burlesque is moving more and more into the mainstream, and where was it 5 years ago?
Well, I think that from where burlesque has come from, it's a natural progression that people are going to find out more about it, and more people in the mainstream will acknowledge burlesque, whereas before it was very underground. In America 10 years ago, burlesque was very much an underground thing. Same as, you know, London, you know, the UK, it was very underground, and it was quite exciting because, you know, it was almost like the raves in the 90s where you call up a phone number and you find out where this place is and you go there, and, you know, it's like in the middle of nowhere. It's the sort of the same thing, and everybody's dressed up, so you're walking down the street and, you know, people are wondering who you are, what you're doing, where you're going. So it had that real underground feeling, which I personally quite like. We did our big show at the Metro, which was 1,300 people. And there was definitely a large proportion of our audience who we'd had before, but there were a lot of people that we had never met before, and, you know, who we did get the front page of the Metro, which I think obviously helps. And a lot of people are very inquisitive. Massive venue. It's quite a sort of, you know, the newest, coolest venue on Oxford Street, run by Mark Gerber, who was associated with Cuba for a long time. And it's just a very interesting venue because it's more like a rock and roll venue. It's almost like a blank canvas with some sort of old, you know, old features like old brick walls and things like that. But we go to town, we have lots of props and decorate the place, and always have our, you know, cigarette girls that are walking around selling, you know, penis candles at the boy burlesque night, or big, you know, candle boobs at the ladies' nights, and fake moustaches and things. So they're always a part of the show, so you've always got a lot of atmosphere. And I think for me, just to bring it up a little bit and to have that sort of element of theatre where you can have different sections of the club being used, a girl dancing on the bar, or, you know, an aerial artist swinging from, you know, the ceiling. That all gives it a quite different sense than just being in a club watching the stage.
Now that was Caspia Violetta from Sugar Time. For more information, please check out www.sugartime.com.au. Jack Bowie, the lady who's brought Dr. Sketch's anti-art school here to Sydney and the event organiser for the burlesque ball, is here to talk to us about burlesque and where it's headed. Hi Jack, how you doing?
Good, thank you, Sammy. How are you?
I'm good. So tell me, where did this interest in burlesque come from?
I've had a background in theatre for quite some time, since I was a little girl actually, and coupled with a love for cosmetics and vintage clothing, I somehow stumbled across burlesque and found that it matched quite a few of my interests. I've been running the event called the Burlesque Ball for 3 years now, and we also have an agency called Jack Bowie PR and Events where we supply burlesque, vintage and vaudeville entertainment to people wanting to book them for their events. A friend of mine in Canada actually pointed out Dr. Sketch's and said, have you heard of this? Why are you doing this? Looked into it and I thought, this is fantastic. It gives our artists work on a Tuesday night. You know, I had 200 artists straight away, models that were suitable to do it, and it's just an absolutely perfect fit. So we gave it a go and it's been a really big success for us.
And how long has it been running for now?
It's been going since October. It's been going since April last year. Complicated question because it's changed so much over the years, but in the beginning burlesque was all about out-of-work actors, dancers, that kind of thing, that were mocking the upper class with the use of sexuality and the use of gimmicks and things like that. With this revival in burlesque, it now incorporates all these other things like magic and hula hoops and aerial trapeze, and there's all these other skills that can be your burlesque gimmick, so to speak.
So we know you take care of the burlesque ball. We know about Dr. Sketch's, but Jack Bowie PR. What are you guys covering there?
Yep. Basically, as an agency, we have some events. Obviously, the burlesque ball and Dr. Sketch's anti-art school that we put on. We also have a new event called the Reba Review, which is it's kind of like a smaller version of the ball, but it's on a monthly basis in Sydney. And then, of course, as an agency, we supply entertainment for different events and things like that, whether it's an intimate dinner for two, we're supplying a magician, or whether it's a big corporate gala dinner and we're supplying, you know, a 10-piece band, a woman in a giant champagne glass, you know, whatever the size of the event, that kind of thing. And also we help with managing artists and PR. So.
Where do you see burlesque headed? Is it something that's growing and growing, or is it, where do you think it's headed?
I didn't think it would. I thought it would kind of go back underground, but it just seems to keep getting stronger and stronger. But it's happening in a good way. It's not kind of commercialising burlesque. It's just many more people want to go and see it, and there's more venues that are offering it, more performers that are coming into the circuit, so more interesting shows. You know, you can always go out and see a brand new show, which is fantastic. I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope it lasts for some time to come, because it's so good to be able to go out and have different entertainment like that. So we'll see.
No longer do you need to fly to Paris to have a great cabaret dining experience, because Sydney now has one of its own. GPO at #1 Martin Place, Sydney brings you Crystal Boudoir. On Saturday night, come here to indulge your senses, starting with a 2-course meal from one of the award-winning restaurants. Then make your way down the staircase, have a cocktail and enjoy the show. Hi, today we have Peter here, Managing Director of GPO Sydney. He's here today to talk to us about the GPO experience and his creation, Crystal Boudoir. Welcome, Peter. How are you doing?
Welcome. I'm very well, thank you.
So tell me about the GPO experience. If I come here on a Saturday night, what can I expect?
In creating GPO Sydney, what we tried to do was put together a collection of restaurants and bars, which works very well for us during the week. We've got 14 restaurants and bars to draw upon, and on a Saturday we bring them all together in a way where people can actually go to more than one restaurant and bar for the evening to make that a total evening.
If you sit here long enough, you feel like you're in the middle of Paris. Can you explain to us how you brought up the concept of Crystal Boudoir and brought it to Sydney?
One of the things we've always tried to do is to never copy other people. We obviously know what everybody else does, but if you're talking about Paris, Moulin Rouge has their own show, Crazy Horse has their own show, go. A lot of other venues have their own theme within them, whether you're talking about Buddha Bar, and the list goes on. Now, what we've tried to do is not copy or imitate them, but to create our own formula, and looking at our market and what people were after within the Sydney context. So what we've done is, firstly, we looked at our market and found what we believe is one of Sydney's best choreographers and dancers in Michael Boyd, and together with him developed a program and product around the other skills that we could find in dancers within that total entertainment experience on a Saturday evening.
As you can see, the art of burlesque is back. It may have evolved into something different over time, but the essence of it still remains the same. Is it here to stay? I'll let you decide. I'm Sammy Lowe reporting for EWTV.
You're walking down the street and suddenly a sound steals your ears. You look around and you can't see where it's coming from. Now, all of us have seen them. Most of us wouldn't want to be one, except for a handful of people who use the street as their stage and your coins as their wage. This, my friends, is the world of busking. And today I'm going to figure out whether it's about the music or the money. Now, the stereotypical busker image we conjure up seems to be a lot different to the reality of the busker that we see. You see, the word busk means to seek, and whether a performer seeks fame and fortune, well, that's totally up to him. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that for some of these guys, it's more about the art form, more so than the money. There are heaps of buskers that have gone on to bigger and better things, including one of Australia's finest homegrown musicians, John Butler, from the John Butler Trio. Whilst not all buskers do it for the money, a busker's income can depend on many factors, from the weather to the location, time of day, even competition from other buskers. Circular Quay is a cultural mecca for many foreign tourists, and it only seems fitting to have the first real Australians here to meet them as they grace our shores. Meet Norm. He's been busking for 18 years and jagging tourists on the harbour foreshores for a lot of those years. Norm tells me it may be his living, but it's not about the money, and I'm going to find out.
Performance has always been in my life from when I was really young. We used to do cultural dances, Torres Strait Island dances up around Mackay, Townsville, Cairns, Rockhampton. Yep.
Because obviously you're Aboriginal in heritage, aren't you, from the north?
Yeah, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And do you think it's important to show, illustrate to all the tourists coming in about Aboriginal culture?
Well, I think it plays a lot of it plays a big part in the fact that not only does it help people who come into the country get a clear picture that Indigenous people are still here, and they're willing and they're friendly, and we're not going to there's nothing really to fear from Indigenous people, and there's, if anything, there's a lot to learn and gain from their culture.
And this is a $1 million question here. For busking for you, is it about the money or the music?
Oh, it is about having independence, and if it means having money to be independent, then yeah, it's about the money and it's about culture. Money is white man's culture. It's not my culture. And I'm trying to learn as much as I can about it.
I don't know, most people don't know the history behind tap, but things in America were segregated. So in order to combat that, the original people who started would do it on the streets.
Yep.
So it's out of respect for them why I do it on the streets. Yeah.
Not for the money?
Nah. The money will come, as you'll see. But I do it for the love. The love.
He does
You
it
gotta
for the love.
You gotta stay true to the art form, and then the money will come.
It's not as easy as grabbing your guitar and waltzing down the street and busting out your favourite song. And it actually seems crazy that you have to pay to give away something which should be essentially free. Do you think that buskers should have to pay to get a licence to play their music?
No.
So you think busking should be free? They shouldn't have to pay essentially free music?
They should never have to pay. It's entertainment and it's free in the street and people enjoy it walking past, so why not?
So you reckon we should see more buskers around?
I don't know. Depends on the calibre of busking.
Do you give coins to buskers?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes if they're good.
So they've got to be good?
Yeah, I wouldn't give it to anyone.
So you don't do charity cases?
No charity cases for me, no.
Do you think that the buskers should have to pay to, you know, to get a licence to play their music?
No, I know that there was an issue with that. Some guy recently, a while back in Martin Place, and I don't really sort of think so. I mean, I think it's everyone's right to sort of, I mean, everyone has the right to free speech, so why not to free music or to free, you know, singing or anything else?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Do you give coins to buskers?
I was probably 50%. If I think they're good, I will.
So you don't do charity case baskets?
No, like with anything else. I mean, you give a tip for good service, so I suppose it's for good music, you give a tip.
But it's not all beer and skittles in this busking game. As someone once explained to me, a busker trying to get a home loan, well, that's like busking to beggars. Symphony is a saxophone maestro who earns her keep playing music. On the streets, that is. I'm here with Symphony. Now, Symphony, how long have you been busking for?
I've been busking for probably about 2.5 years, and I've been only playing for 3 years, so I straight away busked, really.
So what brought you to busking?
Well, my brother did start busking before me. I do come from a musical family,
that's it.
but my dad does play trombone and piano, but he did give it up when he had children.
Right.
But we've kind of carried it on for him.
Seems that age and style is no barrier on the busking scene, so I'm going to go see if I can cut the mustard like the real pros. Well, I've discovered today that there's a lot more to busking than meets the ear. But if it pays the bills and it gets you by, well, best of luck to you. As for me, it's all about the music. Thanks for watching. I'm Will Reid.
You're walking down the street. Out of nowhere, you bump into this amazing girl. You converse, and without even trying, she gives you her number. You call her that arvo, you meet her that night. You get on like a house on fire. It's the greatest moment of your life. The next few months float by like a dream. You realise you're in love. You jump in the air and run to tell her the news. You peer through her window to see if she is sleeping. She is, with another man. Boom, your heart explodes. You run away. You lock yourself in a room. You hurt so bad, you cry yourself to sleep. You awake. Your guitar is staring at you. You pick it up. Chords come from nowhere. Lyrics flow and rhyme. The beat won't stop. Before you realise, you've written a song. You have it on CD. What do you do now? What do you do?
Lemon plunge that teaspoon in the sea. Tell me, dear the ocean messy, yeah. Did ever pause in its reverie?
Okay, my name's Sasha. I'm here with Dan Zilbra, Music Director of FBI Radio. Today's Open Day, first day of the month.
It is.
What is Open Day all about for Sydney artists?
It's pretty much an opportunity where we fling open the doors. Anyone who wants to, who produces music, raps, writes songs, any sort of involvement in making music can bring in their songs.
Yep.
Bring in demos, albums, EPs, independent labels that don't have publicists can come in, basically leveling the playing field so that we can get a whole bunch of Australian music we might not have found otherwise, but also making the station really accessible to Sydney artists.
Cool. And when you say leveling the playing field, is that why Open Day sort of started for FBI?
Yeah, that was sort of the idea. FBI's been alive for almost 5 years now, and I've been here for that entire time. And one of my first initiatives, or the first ideas that I had was, you know, FBI is a community station. We play 50% Australian music. We've got access to the same stuff that everyone else does. How do we go a little bit further to assist those artists, giving them the information they need, letting them know how FBI works, but also for us finding that music. So yeah, it's been every single month for almost 5 years now. So we've found some great music through it.
You have, haven't you? And that's some big artists have started through Open Day, or is that mainly through coming through record labels, or does Open Day feature?
No, we've played a lot of demos on FBI, bands who we know a lot better nowadays. Probably the biggest band that's come through Open Day, and the beautiful thing about Open Day is you never know who you're talking to until you listen to the music and a story starts to build. But Chris from Wolfmother came in during one Open Day with Baby Pascal under one arm and 5 copies of his latest demo. Obviously no one had heard of Wolfmother yet, they hadn't even played a live show at that point, so he just said, look, we've been rehearsing for a year, we've been working really hard, this is what we've got, it's 3 tracks, it's our demo. He didn't even know what Open Day was other than the fact that he could bring in music, so that's what he did, left it with us. The next day we listened to it and we knew that it was a winner. Regardless of what sort of taste you have, you know, sometimes a good song is a good song.
What happens with you there? Like, do you have a structure of when do you set time aside to listen to it? What happens from once someone hands you over a CD?
We've got time set aside, the first Monday of every month, 3 till 6. People just rock up to FBI, they're sitting out the front now waiting for me. They take a number and they just come through in the order they're seen. But in terms of what happens to the CDs after, when they leave it with me, they'll bring in multiple copies, hopefully, at least 3, maybe 6 copies with a little bit of information about the band to give us an idea of what they're about, how long they've been playing for, and what they've achieved in their short career. I listen to all the music on a Wednesday. Pass all the extra copies around to different shows so that they can consider them for their own shows, because we've got so many different shows, specialist music and Sydney and Australian specialist music, different genres, and then also daytime people who can play anything from hip-hop to rock, indie, pop, electronica. So I pass the music around in all those directions. The artists get an email telling them which shows have received their music, just so they know I've listened to it and that those announcers will listen to it, and fingers crossed they'll get some airplay.
So there's hope for me, like a little nobody like me, bringing in a CD like this.
Even hope for you, Sasha.
Yeah, there's even a chance this could get played on FBI.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. Look, thanks so much for your time.
Look forward to listening.
Cheers.
Lemon plunge that teaspoon empty. Tell me, dear, the ocean messy, did ever pause in its reverie? Me, I'm growing smaller by.
So, you don't have to be a huge sign artist to get your music on the air. FBI have the processes in place to help you. So get off your butts and start bringing in your fantastic music. Because once it's on the air, a record label might hear it. A band might like it and want you to come and support them. You just never know who might be listening.
Hey, this is a really great song playing. Do you know who it's by?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, cool. Hey, do you want to go get a coffee?
Sure.
Remember, if you want interesting TV, you want EWTV.